Good morning, soccer fans, and welcome to the premiere of the UWS Kickoff Show, powered by Rain Body Fuel. This summer, we are excited to get you primed for weekend action in the UWS and UWS2 with this show. Joining me this morning, I am joined by my co-hosts, Danny and Megan. Megan is a player for Unity FC down in Florida, a part of the UWS2 program. And Danny is with Small World, where he actually highlights matches around the grassroots of America for soccer and is a big component in advancing women's soccer. So Megan and Danny, thank you so much for taking the time to join me this morning. Megan, why don't you give us some insight into who you are and what you actually do for the game and you know what's going on currently with Unity?
Yeah, so currently playing with Unity FC. My soccer journey, obviously, you can probably tell with the accent, started off in England, born and raised in Watford, joined Watford Academy, played there until I was 18 before coming over to America on a soccer scholarship to play. Really loved the fact that you could pursue education and soccer at the same time. My soccer journey then took me on a professional contract to Iceland. And now I'm back with Unity this summer, and I'm super, super excited. Be joining up with the team next week, and they've got it going on. Unity, you probably have seen them on social media. It's a great club. Trying to get girls playing, trying to get everybody involved in this really one team, one club mentality, which I absolutely love. If you want to hear more about me, a little plug here. April 10th, that was our show. You should watch it.
No shame there. No shame there. Danny, how's it going, man? And give us some insight into you and what Small World's got going on.
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. Glad to be here on an early Saturday morning. You know, this is where I would love to spend my the start of my weekend. Love hanging out with you guys and talking soccer. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do for Small World. So Small World Soccer has been around since August 2019. As you mentioned, we're covering kind of lower league grassroots soccer. The whole goal is to use the platform to cover and promote clubs that aren't able to get the platform that they deserve, right? So essentially, the kind of like fun tagline is we're serving the deserving, right? So I kind of using blog posts and podcasts twice a week and whatever we can do to cover lower league soccer for the people who care about it and for people to get seen that deserve to be seen and get that coverage.
Well, awesome. I'm excited for both of you to join us. Obviously, we have a fourth member of our team, Harry, who could not join us this morning due to a family emergency. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Harry. So hopefully everything's okay and he's able to join us next week. But today we'll be interviewing Lewis Robinson from Midwest United. We were actually lucky enough to meet with him yesterday to talk a little bit about the upcoming matchup against Lansing United, a local rival for them. And we are pleased to be joined by midfielder Alexis Mitchell, who is joining us from Lansing United. We'll also be previewing matches as Chicago Kicks travels to Lady Steel's FC or Lady Steel FC and Cork Town AFC hosts at Corner Ballpark the Muskegon Risers tomorrow evening. So let's break down each game and look take the time to pay attention to what to look forward to. So first, let's go ahead and listen to what Coach Robinson had to say about tomorrow's matchup. Joining us this morning representing Midwest. Sorry about that. We're having some audio issues. Let me see if I can fix that real quick here. Again, I apologize for that. Joining us this morning representing Midwest United is head coach Lewis Robinson, who also serves as director of coaching for Midwest United FC. Lewis, thank you for taking the time to join Danny and I this morning for the kickoff show. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys. It's good to be back chatting again, and yeah, everything is good. It's busy up here in Michigan, but it's a good busy. We're ready to get kicked off here.
Danny's got the first question for you this morning, Coach, as we get geared up for game time at 7 p.m. Eastern at Aquinas College. It's a really exciting time. First game of the year. Go ahead, Danny.
Yes, sir. Yeah, good to have you on, Lewis. Excited to see you guys later tonight in action. That could be the game of the season already on match day 1, so we'll love to see that. But question for you, looking at preseason this year, obviously it's a little bit different with still a lot of lingering restrictions and effects of COVID-19. What's been different about this preseason for you in your role compared to seasons past?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like everything for the last 12 months or more has been crazy, right? And that's the easy way to describe it. I think just everything that's gone on is having little effects on the way that we do things. The obvious challenge, which I'm sure every team in the country is having, is with the college season being moved to the spring for the most part. A lot of our college players have been playing competitive seasons. So first, I mean, the one is we still have some kids that are still playing or just finished playing last week in championships. So all of those kids need a break is a reality after the last year they've had. So we're trying to be pretty cautious on not just demanding that everybody was here last week to train and kind of kick off a day 1 preseason like we all like to. This year, more than ever, it was kind of, we trained all week with, a group of 15 that were here, and we did the best we can to try to start and get going, and then we're going to gradually increase throughout the summer. I think there were some players that are going to need a 2-week break, just mentally, probably more than anything. And as always, there's some players that need a little physical break. So, it's definitely going to be a challenge, but it's nothing that we haven't dealt with before. And we're lucky that we have a base group of 25 to 30 players that we rely on, that we're happy with, that are pretty consistent, have been around our club and our system. So I think all that's really going to change is we'll have a group playing on Saturday that are pretty new to it. And then over the next few weeks, we'll continue to add and get a little bit stronger as the summer goes on.
So, Coach, Danny and I were talking a few weeks ago about this match in particular and how this match kind of sets the tone for the year. You've got Lansing United coming into your town, your home at Aquinas College, who've only lost 1 regular season game since they've been in the league. What should we expect to see from the ladies today on the pitch?
Yeah, it's the way it works, isn't it? I guess that's probably a strength of our league is we have so many good teams here in the Midwest, and we're all geographically pretty close compared to the rest of the country. So it kind of forms, I think, more rivalry games than probably any other league. And Lansing is one. I mean, the job that they do every year, they're ran very well. And, we know Jeremy and we know Jason, the head coach, pretty well. And they always do a fantastic job. You know what you're going to get with them. They're never going to put a second-rate team on any field. That's the way they do things. So they're always one of those games that you highlight at the beginning of the season and you look forward to. I don't know if it's disappointing or exciting that game comes up first day after like 2 days of practice. Probably a little bit of both. It's nice if you're going to play, it's nice to get right into a big game, right? Rather than these tune-up games and games against teams where we're just experimenting different things against Lansing. There'll always be a friendly competitive edge. There's a lot of players play together, have played together, have switched between the two clubs. So I think it'll be fun. There'll be all those little side stories and little extra rivalries going on. And ultimately, you're going to see, I think, 2 of the top teams and top clubs, at least, playing. I don't know what we'll both look like as far as who's there and who's playing big minutes and who's not. But there's no way that it's not going to be a fun game and it's not going to be a competitive game, which is what you're always going to get, I think, when our 2 teams play.
I mean, you mentioned how geographically close these 2 clubs are, and it seems like there's history there too. You guys know each other well. That tends to lean into pretty cool fan culture between the 2 sides. Are fans going to be allowed at this match? And if so, how is that going to affect the gameplay on the field?
Yeah. So we're open here. I mean, fans are asked to socially distance and mask up like always. But yeah, we're actually going to be allowing spectators for the game, and we're actually going to be allowing spectators free of charge as well, which we're really excited about. The way our club is built is the purpose of our team is to provide the highest level of women's soccer for our local community, being our club and the West Michigan area. So part of that, thankful to some fantastic sponsors and so a lot of people that support us, we're able to provide it free of charge on Midwest United. So the game will be open. We hope that we'll get a lot of youth soccer fans, a lot of our club and young players who are looking up to these girls to play, as well as some of the local community. We've always had a great following from the Grand Rapids FC UWS days and what we did early on with the Grand Army. We hope that's going to continue and should make for a fun atmosphere for sure.
Coach, you got new players and some familiar veterans on this club that have played for you collegiately and also who've been with Midwest United for some time. Who's got the armband this evening as kickoff approaches here at 7 p.m. local time at Aquinas College?
Likely Avery Lockwood will be the captain for game one. She's got obviously a really bright history with us in our club in general. She came up through the ranks of Midwest United, won a couple of national championships, and captained her club teams to an academy national championship at under 19. She was also a 15 and 16-year-olds on the first year that Grand Rapids FC won the national championship, and she played off the bench in probably a 15, 20-minute role back then. And she's gone on, and now she's at IU, Indiana, had a fantastic year in the Big Ten, and is just an amazing leader, a great player. So, yeah, she'll likely be leading the team tonight.
Last question on my end. You mentioned kind of there's players, there's this influx, right, of players coming from their college season and they're right off the back of playing competitively, and there's others that haven't played competitively in a while and it's their first competitive game in maybe a year. What is the roster going to look like, and what's going through your mind as you kind of select those players, especially right now as there's kind of less of a cohesion and less of a kind of a common ground in training?
Yeah, for sure. And that's almost kind of the most difficult part of this is you have that balance every year, right? Every year we have what we might call, I don't know if they love the term, but the veterans of the team who've been around and maybe have finished their collegiate careers, maybe they've finished their pro careers. And we've always had a few really good players at that level, right? That have played in the pro ranks or played at top college and have finished now. So you're right, Danny. Some of them, I mean, they haven't played a game in 7 months maybe, right? They've been keeping fit and training, but their last UWS game for us was last July, right? So it's going to take a little bit to get them up to full match fitness, and the last thing we want to do is just throw them out on Saturday in a big game and there's 90 minutes, because that's where injuries happen, that's where seasons get cut short. So we have to manage that, but we also know we need those people, because those people have been around and they lead us, and they're sometimes a level above some of the younger players. So we always try to build our team on a balance between the two. We need both sides. We need the leadership and the players that have been around and won things and lost things and had those careers. But we also need the vibrancy and the energy and the ability to play 110 minutes that some of our 17, 18, 19-year-olds have, and we saw that in training already this week. I mean, I got some kids on that team that I know can play 100 minutes, no problem, on Saturday, right? And next Saturday as well. So we got to manage that. And we know for a first game, we're going to be selecting a team that can play pretty fast-paced and can play high energy for big minutes. And then we'll try and manage the legs and manage the load of everybody else to make sure that most importantly, the players are safe and set up to be successful. And obviously with half a goal to get through the games and be at our very best come July, which is always what we want to do.
Coach, we know you got some coffee to get to as you get ready and geared up for kickoff here this evening. Again, 7 p.m. local time at Aquinas College. But I have to ask, Coach, anytime you watch a good sports movie, there's always an inspirational pre-game speech from the gaffer. Care to hype us up a little bit, or do you have one? Do you have one that's a secret? Your secret sauce of sorts for your players this evening?
Yeah, and some obviously we can't share of what we're really going to be discussing before the game. And I'm sure every coach probably has one or two of those, but I try to keep them for the end of the season. Hopefully we're going to be playing in the big playoff games, and that's where we can get the extra little bit. But no, I mean, in general, we'll have a few, I'm sure, little messages for the girls, and hopefully they'll have some messages for each other as well. But I think the big thing always, especially at this point of the year and after the year we've had, is enjoy it, is have fun with it, is play with a massive smile on your face. We all know how, I think I've learned, and everyone has in the last year and a half here, like how much was taken away from us at times, and when we weren't able to do this, and we weren't able to have fans in the stands last year, and a lot of the things that we take for granted maybe, or we love doing, we weren't able to do. So I think it's even more important now to play with a smile on your face and realize, not take anything for granted. But also we lean a lot in our club, and we expect of our players to be role models. I think that carries us through the game. That's always the last reminder we have before we go on the field is, when you play for Midwest United, you're at the top of our pyramids. You are the role model to thousands of young players, in the club, thousands of young players in West Michigan. And that has to be enough to drive you, to make you strive for perfection, to make you work as hard as you can, make you represent our club in the way that many have before, and many will continue to do. So yeah, we'll look forward to it. Hopefully win something just like that, and they'll be ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lewis Robinson. Lewis, thanks so much for coming on with us and giving us some insight. We're very excited to see your team go up against Lansing United. 7 p.m. Central. That's one you're going to want to catch later on tonight. Thanks again, Lewis. Send you back to the main event, shall we?
All right, so some insight to kind of today's match. Thought that was a really good interview. Coach gives us some insight into what to look forward to. But we have even more insight for you this morning, as we are joined by Lansing United midfielder Alexis Mitchell. Alexis has been with the club since it started in 2018, and in 2019 was a second-team All-UWS selection and first-team Midwest selection as well. We're also excited as she's finishing up her collegiate year at South Dakota and looking forward to her future in the soccer world. Alexis, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning. How are you, first off?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
No worries. So I'll go ahead and ask the first question, and then I will leave it to my co-host to get the rest in. But Alexis, each season the club has been so close to the title. What is it going to take this year for Lansing United to finally get the hardware that they've been missing the last few years?
Hopefully we can, since every year we've started off very, very strong, we can just keep that momentum all the way through July, and we can keep the healthy bodies and hopefully keep the momentum and push it into the regional tournament and national tournament, hopefully playoff games. That's the ultimate goal.
Shout out to John real quick. John's up this early morning. He's already got a TIFO going. He's set. He's ready. But I'm going to step out, and I'm going to let my hosts, my co-hosts, take over the rest of the way. So,
well, and now he's gone. So Alexis, I mean, looking at the Midwest United match, like obviously these are two high quality teams on the pitch, and that creates a rivalry in itself. But kind of off the field, with how close you are geographically, how much history is there, you've kind of been the perennial powers of this region for a while. Does it feel like a bigger game? Does it really feel like a derby to you guys?
Yes, because we haven't played like as this team in like 20 months, because we didn't play till 2019. I didn't get to come last year for that little tournament. So the energy and the buildup is already so strong with just having things taken away from COVID and the pandemic, and to play against Midwest United, it adds to it. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be such a fun game. We live as players, we live for those games. So
yeah, I definitely agree. How do you guys think, as you said, it's been about 20 months since you guys have been together. How have you guys promoted that team cohesion in your time apart? And do you think that's going to affect in the game tonight?
It might take us a few minutes to get back into
how we play as a like team chemistry and everything, because we all come from different backgrounds, and like my team at South Dakota I have a different role on South Dakota than I do on Lansing United. So it might take a few minutes, but the way this team chemistry is, even off the field, it's so strong that I'm not worried. So
we would say we're not worried for you either, but Lewis had some pretty good points in his interview too. I'm very excited. This is going to be a fun one. Once again, 7 p.m. Central. You're going to want to catch that one however you can. Yeah, that's appreciate you coming on, Alexis. Excited to see you out there, and hopefully maybe a hat trick. We'll see.
Fingers crossed. That's the goal.
We got big expectations here.
And Alexis, before we let you go, what do you see happening today on the pitch? You know, visual, having that visual, that moment of clarity. What is the what's going through your head right now as you get ready to step foot on the pitch?
Just excited, and I can picture it playing with the team. We had practice on Thursday, and we discussed how we're going to approach the game, best way to do it. And like Coach from Midwest United said, some players have been off for a month. Some players just had a game on Tuesday from the tournament and stuff. So it's going to be about kind of managing body. And so today I am going to make sure that I mentally and physically prepare. So.
Any pregame routine ritual that you go through to do that?
Definitely yoga, meditation, visualizing how I'm going to be out there on the field, eating right, hydrating, lots of water, and then just having fun with my friends, which are my teammates, which works out great. So.
Well, as Danny had said, Alexis, thank you so much for giving us your time. We know you probably got a team meeting to get to, and I really appreciate you giving us this moment to talk a little UWS and Lansing United. Good luck today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. All right, Alexis Mitchell, midfielder for Lansing United, number 22, as John has made us aware. Good luck to her and the rest of Lansing United today as they go up against Midwest United, 7 p.m., local time at Aquinas College.
Now, I'll tell you what, I want John as my hype man. Seriously. Like, can I hire him as a personal hype man? Because that dude would, like, literally instantly boost my self-esteem. I love his comments at the bottom.
Oh, you got to have him. You got to have him, man. It's always the way to do it. He's a go-getter in the world of Lansing United. I've seen him everywhere on their social media. And in fact, I do believe he is awake right now. I want to see a picture. Hopefully he'll put it on the UWS Weekly tweet at us so we can take a picture and put it on today to show that TIFO, and maybe get some other clubs to want to do that as well. So another match that we have today is Lady Steels actually hosting the Chicago Kicks. Both teams are new to the UWS this season. Lady Steel obviously was going to start last year, and Chicago Kick just kind of the new kid on the block. Megan, I got to ask, what is it going to take for these two clubs to get up to speed? Chicago Kick is kind of behind the curve a little bit with player signings and announcements, and Lady Steel, their club president plays for the team and is on the team first team roster, and the goalkeeping coach, head coach, is also a local legend of sorts in Chicago or in Juliet. How does this work?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that these teams will be able to play each other first before they go and play those experienced clubs. The league, very, very tight league, this league. So it should be an interesting one. You know, these teams, they just need to go in there and remember why they're here. Why did they create this team? What are they about? And just really find that team chemistry. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great matchup tonight, and it will really set the tone for how they're going to go in and play these other teams. In terms of going in as a new team, I think tactical side is a huge, huge part of the game. You know, you can see these previous footage of these other clubs. Nobody knows what you're about, and you got to use that for your advantage. So it should be a good game.
Yeah, they have kickoff tomorrow in Juliet, which will be nice, right? It's a home game for Lady Steel. But Danny, what does that mean? I mean, you've never had a game. Do you really have home field advantage when you're a new team and this is your first game?
I would argue yes, and this is why. It comes down to where you're familiar, right? So even if you've only had 2-3 sessions of training, those training sessions generally are going to be at your field, right? You've kind of been envisioning yourself playing that match on that field for at least a couple weeks, even if you've just joined the team. There's something that's almost an emotional tie to that place. So even if you're not accustomed to it for 4, 5, 6 years, you're emotionally tied to it. You feel like you belong to it in a sense when you put on that shirt and you've been thinking about it for so long and you've been working yourself up mentally, emotionally. You're going to be ready to defend that home field. There will be an advantage as far as the way they play, in my opinion. I'm excited for it.
And Megan, what about for the visitor? Obviously, the visitor knows there's no home field advantage. They're just getting started, just like them. Does that create kind of a, let's say, an opportunity to go and steal 3 points, not having to really fear anything?
Yeah, it definitely can create that fearless factor. You're going in, you've got nothing in the past that's holding you back. You're just going in and you get to prove your point. You get to take that game. So I think it can go both ways. Yes, the home team has an advantage. I completely agree with what Danny is saying. But on the other hand, you've got the other team with that fearless factor. They could just go out there and kick some butt. Like, I love it.
Man, you know what I think going, and maybe I'm wrong, but the kick goes in with not having to have this load of expectation. We've seen players being announced over the last few days on Instagram. They've brought some players that they know who are local, let's call them local legends of sorts. Daniela Tovar comes to mind, who plays at Dominican, but she's out there playing pickup games and is being seen. You know, what does this do for players opportunity-wise who get a chance to come in and showcase talent in the UWS this summer, maybe not having that opportunity unless it was a club like Chicago Kicks coming in?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of the reasons I love the game at this level and one of the reasons I cover it, whether that's women's, men's, whatever division, professional, Sunday league. Players that get that opportunity who wouldn't have otherwise, I love that concept. And if I was at that level and I was any good at all at soccer, I would be trying to do that myself. I'm not, unfortunately. But like watching other people get to who are my age, who get to chase that dream, who had almost kind of given up on it in a sense because they didn't get that Division I scholarship or they didn't get that professional contract. It's not the buck doesn't stop there for soccer in America, and people don't realize it. So that really gets me excited as far as these players who get that opportunity and have just been balling in their area, and people have found them and said, "Hey, come play at this level. I see your talent." I'm excited for that. And that goes for all divisions, all clubs, all across the UWS. It's going to be a theme of this season. And I'm excited to see that next star who kind of buds up in this league.
Megan, I got to ask, looking at your story, right? Just a small college, then going to play for Unity, being seen. Obviously, you had the experience of playing at the academy with Watford, but how did the UWS help you, Danny, with his crest on? How did that opportunity get you going?
Yeah, it's great to be joined. I think something that for me at Unity was really good was being able to be joined by so many people. We have players who will literally travel 3 hours just to play the game. Like, that kind of level of passion is something that you just can't match. And just being surrounded by people who can help you grow and develop. And everybody comes from a different story. And with all those stories coming together, you can learn so much, whether it's, hey, I have this skill, try and do it. But it's also learning their story and why they're there. And I think that really helps just bring that true passion and makes you love the game so much more.
Well, let's let everybody know this game is going to be hosted tomorrow at DePage Medical Group Field. So if you're out in the Juliet area, make sure you take the chance to get out there to see this match. It's going to be a good one. In terms of results, we didn't give a result for the Midwest United and Lansing United, but I think Chicago Kicks goes in and steals this one. I think they go in and they get a late goal, and it's a 1-0 win for the Chicago Kicks. What are your guys' thoughts?
For me, jitters on both sides. It takes a while to kind of work your way into this game. I was at an NPSL game in Georgia the other day, and you could tell one side was clearly better than the other, but it was kind of canceled out by the fact that they both had a lot of nerves and were still kind of working on, the communication with each other to link passes together in the attack. I see a 1-1 draw here. Maybe Kicks grabs a kind of a counterattack goal and against a run of play, and we see the spoils are shared. That's my take. Yeah,
I'm thinking again, it's going to be a very cautious game. If if either team can take it in the first half, grab a goal in the first half, I think that team's going to take the match. But if it stays pretty equal, I can see it being 1-0 either way with just maybe a set piece coming in at the last sort of second. Yeah, so let's go. I'm going to go 1-0 Steel.
Ooh, all right. We're on opposite sides of the spectrum, but that's okay. The other match tomorrow is going to be Cork Town AFC versus Muskegon Risers. That's going to take place at the Corner Ballpark tomorrow evening. Cork Town's done a lot. They've done a lot on social media. Does that kick off into the field? You know, Muskegon has been the Risers have been kind of quiet. Yeah, they'll put an announcement here and there. You'll see an announcement every few days. But at the end of the day, you know, what should we expect? Cork Town obviously has aspirations to win the conference, play for a national championship. I think the Risers do too. They're just not as vocal and as, you know, it's a, you know, I'm going to show you what we can do on the pitch. What are your guys' takes on Cork Town, the Cork Town AFC versus the Risers of Muskegon tomorrow?
It's fascinating because one of the things that I run into, you know, writing about all these teams, and Muskegon is a team that has a men's program as well that I've interacted with, and it's crazy because a lot of times your branding and your social media output is very related to how much effort you're putting into the club, you know, internally. But sometimes there's that rare exception of somebody that's just really doing a fantastic job in everything but what's public, you know, and the outreach. And you're like, where the heck did this team come from? Like, and it's almost frustrating on my end because I'm like, I want to cover you. Like, I want to have that information to shout you out, and I have nothing. And yet you're like the best team in this league. What is happening? Muskegon is one of those examples. They're a fantastic program. And really, it's not just on the field either. It's, community outreach. And Muskegon is a town where, you know, it's small enough to where they can be very impactful with the people in that little city. It's a really cool place and a really cool club. You may not see it all the time, on social media. Not everybody can be Unity FC. But Muskegon is a really well-run club. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it on the men's side for a while. I think they might take some people by surprise for that reason.
Megan, your thoughts on the social media and kind of the hype that it builds? Is it overhyping at times?
I don't think so. I mean, as a member of Unity, there can never be too much hype. We love all the social media coverage. And I think Cork Town is very similar on that level with Unity in that they really use social media to the full extent that it can offer. And I think that really does translate into the players, what they can bring to the team when you know that there's so many people watching you. You've had hype for literally since the beginning of this year, since the end of last season. It's still going on. You're so ready because of that social media hype up. So I feel like Cork Town will have a lot of people watching this game, and all those players are going to know that. So they're going to want to come out and absolutely smash it. So I think they will use that to their advantage. And it'll be interesting to see how many people will be watching this game and talking about this game after based on all the work that they've done on social media. Yeah,
this game should be available via Mike Cujo, so you can check it out. But, you know, I have to say, as a player for Muskegon, yes, they do social media. Yes, they are a true club based on a mission and value. And Aaron, Skipper, and Eddie have done a very good job of promoting Cork Town AFC. That cannot be taken away. They have done everything they can to make sure people know Cork Town is there. But in a way, I feel like Muskegon the players at least, might be like, well, we're just as good, if not better. We don't have this social media around us. Yeah, you have the followers on an online element. We don't need that following. We're just going to come out and we're gonna smash some balls in the net and call it a day. I don't know. Am I wrong there with maybe Muskegon and other clubs have a chip on their shoulder and want to come out and show that, hey, you know, you can drive for a show, but we putt for dough kind of thing?
There's definitely an argument to be made there. Another thing I want to point out, Muskegon does have 2,400 followers on Twitter. So they're not necessarily neglecting social media either. It's tough when you're getting compared to Cork Town, but these are two teams that have both done a great job with kind of social media and like you say, Cork Town puts a lot of effort into it. And Muskegon almost looks at it and says, well, look, we're going to put the effort in, where we want to win matches and put the effort in training, and it's kind of different ideologies, I guess. But at the same time, everybody knows you can do whatever you want with social media, but you gotta prove it on the pitch eventually. And so we're at that point now where we've been kind of hyping people up on social media because that's all we can do, for the past few months, years, however long it's been. And now, we get to prove it the way we've always wanted to prove it. Who's going to be the best on the pitch? Both teams know that. Both teams are prepared for that. And we're going to see who comes out champions, I guess, at least on the day.
Final thoughts before we get into predictions, Megan?
Oh, I mean, couldn't put it better. I think Danny said everything. Like, you can put as much out on social media as you want, but at the end of the day, when that whistle blows, that's when it really counts. So.
Well, we'll see. Prediction wise, I think this one ends up in a. I think this is a goal fest. I think we see 2 goals each team. I think they both walk away with a point. We got a 2-2 draw at the end of this match tomorrow evening.
Yeah, I like that prediction. I'll stick with that. I'll say maybe even another goal each. I'll go 3-3. This could be an attacking match. I don't know why. I just feel like these are 2 teams that are going to have it figured out more than the rest of the league. They're pretty experienced. Both these owners know what they're doing, and they know the type of people they have to have in their club to be successful. I think we could see more goals as a result. That's something that comes from being more prepared, being ready for this match a little bit more. I see a lot of goals in this one.
Yeah, completely agree. It's going to be a goal fest. I think a team's going to take it. I'm going to back Cork Town after seeing so much of them on social media. I think they're really ready for this game, so I'm going to go 3-2 to Cork Town.
And if it is 3-2, how does that emotionally affect a team? Is it draining, Megan? Does it drain your energy going into the next match? Do you carry on? What happens here?
I think mentally a 3-2 is like a thriller. For the team winning, like, you just take that and you run with it. Like, you're happy. The team losing, your next game, you're completely ready to get back to it and get your revenge, I think the biggest thing after a 3-2 type of match is physically that's tough. Like, a 3-2 match is going to be up and back and down, side, left, right, everywhere. It's going to be physically tiring. And this league has a lot of games, so they're going to be focusing on recovery. But mentally, I think it just means both teams will be ready to go back out on the field.
Well, if you're at home, Mike Cujo, what better way to spend Mother's Day than watching 2 wonderful UWS matches via Mike Cujo, or even in person, getting one of those matches in. So, Corner Ballpark tomorrow, Cork Town AFC and Muskegon Risers. Make sure you check it out. So let's look ahead into the season. Let's talk about who we think the final 4 teams will be. I'm not ready to name a potential champion. I don't think we can do that yet on match day 1. But let's see who we think will be in our final 4. Danny, why don't we start with you? Who are your final 4 heading into the summer in July 23rd through 25th with a site to be determined still?
All right, let's do it. I'm going to warn you guys. These are probably all wrong. I love dark horses a little too much. I told you about that introducing Small World, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to back my dark horses long shots as long as I can. So out of the West, I'm choosing Impact FC. I don't think they're really that much of a dark horse. The West has a lot of talent. And I know, Jonathan, you have a pretty good personal connection with them up there. And that's a really well-run club. We all know that. We'll see if they can translate it to the field, but I think they can. That's going to be a very competitive West region, but I could see Impact doing it.
Their head coach is a little crazy. I'll tell you that right now.
You're not wrong. I'm glad you said it. I didn't want to come on week 1 and say that. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be awesome. So Impact FC, I see them taking the West, representing the Southwest. I couldn't choose anybody but FC Austin Elite. Danny Woodfill has a pretty awesome first name. I can't lie. And I've had him on our podcast before. He is wonderful. He knows exactly what he's doing. You've got the sharp Austin Elite scarf in the background. One of the best branding in UWS for sure. Yeah, there you go. That was a little bit weird, but yeah, now we can see it. And so I love that club. They're in it for the right reasons. And they're also in it to win titles. So I think this could be their year going all the way. I think they'll at least find themselves in the Final Four. In the East, I like FC Buffalo. That's another team that I have some prior experience covering on the men's side. And this is maybe the most underrated soccer club in that region right now. They've been doing some fantastic stuff from, social things to community outreach to, you talk about a really good following on Twitter. This is like 7, maybe 8,000 now on Twitter and quite a few on Instagram, I know as well. These are guys who really want to reach the community and care about the area of Buffalo, New York that they're in. They're going to put a very quality product on the field. We talked about Lewis, the respect he gave to Lansing, that they really don't put a bad team on the field. Buffalo is exactly like that. They are not entering a women's league just to have a women's team. They're entering a women's league to win titles with their women's team. And I think they've got the resolve. I think they've got the infrastructure within that club to really to make some moves as early as their first season. And then in the Southeast, no bias involved whatsoever. I have my Atlanta Panthers going all the way to the Final Four. It has nothing to do with the fact that I am from Atlanta and have a personal friend on the team. Nothing at all. I am an enormous Atlanta Panthers fan and will stand them into the grave. They're my pick to get past maybe the toughest division in the country this year with Pensacola FC involved. I've got them pulling the upset and finding their way to the Final Four.
So I have to ask, are you and Happiest of Joes? Are you guys going to be the duo for match days on Cujo for Atlanta Panthers SC?
We're going to have to be the supporters group. We'll have to coordinate that. Maybe he can buy some drums. But no, I'll be in Charlotte over the summer, so I'll miss in-person matches, but I will be watching from afar and supporting. I'm really excited what they're going to do. That's a well-run club from the players to the owner to the head coaches. It's a fantastic organization.
And Megan, you actually get to answer this because you're in UWS too, so it really doesn't affect you anyway. So who do you got as your Final Four heading into the national championship July 23rd through 25th?
Okay, so this is tough because every conference is looking so strong right now. First of all, had to go for Unity's soccer sister club, FC Austin Elite. I think they're going to do some big things this summer. Really looking forward to watching them play. I'm backing Pensacola. Sorry to the Panthers. But, yeah, I think they've done some amazing things as a club. Like, they've got a really strong history, and I think they're going to enter into this UWS league, like, ready to make a stand. Over on the West, I'm backing SC Blue Heat. I think they've produced a lot of good players. So, a bit of a rogue one maybe, but I'm backing them. And then when it comes to the East, I don't know. I can't pick. I'm looking at these teams and I'm like, it could go a lot of different ways. So yet to pick, maybe after the first 2 weeks of play, I'll be able to pick someone to back. But yeah, I think that league is going to be a really tough one.
All right, you heard it here from Megan. She's got her 4 in. So my 4, you got to go with what's a known entity in the West. You have International who's joining. You've got Blue Heat. You've got Impact, you've got Congo. The one team that hasn't really gotten any plug is Katie and Lee up at Foothills. Foothills has done it, and they've done it well over the last few years. They've kept coaches intact. They've got their coaches from assistants all the way up to the top and brought them. Troy was there the last few years, winning Coach of the Year. I think Foothills, who actually I do believe they're the one club that has put the most players into the professional ranks from the UWS playing in Canada and other parts of the world. I got to go with Foothills in the West. I'm sorry. All show, all go. I'm going to say Cork Town comes out of the Midwest Conference. Again, all show, all go all day long. They're going to put some goals on the board. They've got some excellent talent, and they're going to promote it, and their players are going to feed off that, and it's just going to create a hype system all the way down. Lancaster Inferno is going to come from the East, continuously, back-to-back Eastern Conference champions, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Is this the year they actually get it done and get that opportunity to hoist the championship trophy over their head? And how could you not pick Pensacola for, unfortunately, the Southeast? Pensacola coming in. They've been to 4 Final Fours. They have a great system with David Kemp. They've got a youth system that helps bring players through. they do what they need to do to be successful. And I think that just continues here in the UWS this summer. Who to watch for? So obviously with an influx, we are always seeing UWS players have the opportunity, as Megan has, to play overseas or even the NWSL. So let's pick 2 players to watch for this season. This league is so rare in that we have established players like Orianna Velazquez, Teresa Rook, Sarah Hughey, Kylie McIntosh, but we also have newcomers, right? We've got or some familiar faces, newer faces, Tanya Boychuk, Nikki Papa, and Bella Ballard. Let's go through. Let's pick 2 players that we think we need to keep an eye out for this season.
Well, catch me standing Atlanta Panthers again by choosing an Atlanta player as one of my 2 this season. Nicole Soltare is a name that you probably don't know. She's been playing at a really high level across kind of Georgia's, I guess, kind of travel. I don't know how you describe it. It's a club called, it's a organization called GASA, but essentially it's kind of the highest level below one of these national leagues. Like UWS. So she's been really rocking it there. And a core of that team has all moved to Atlanta Panthers. They're kind of the DNA, the makeup of this team. And Nicole is one of those players who's a team leader, basically the assistant manager of this team as she's playing. A left back coming off of injury, so she should be back fit just in time for their start in June. She's going to be a player to watch, not necessarily for the goals and the skills, but just for that leadership that I think could be a rarity in a division full of attacking talent and players with so much skill. A player like that who's got experience and who can kind of mitigate some of that attacking threat against teams like Pensacola, like Louisiana. She's going to be a key for that. So be watching for Nicole. And then for Louisiana FC, I'm very excited about Orianna Velazquez, really, really high quality player. Been playing in Colombia for a long time, played with the national team. And obviously, if you've been keeping up with your UWS weekly shows, then you will know that she's got not only a lot of talent, but a really humble mentality. And she knows exactly what she is in Louisiana to do. Has the tools to be able to do it, has the kind of mentality to be able to do it as well. And that's going to be a really nice looking midfield. I know there's multiple Colombian internationals in that midfield now too. So that's going to be the key for Louisiana in a very competitive division, is that midfield.
They brought a lot of players from Colombia to be a part of this club. I'm excited to see what they can do. In fact, maybe, just maybe, they are the underdogs of the UWS. We'll see how that talent comes together when Orlando is able to do with it. But, you know, and Megan, I'm not going to put you on the spot because you know so many of these players, they're your friends. And if you leave somebody out, they're probably going to get really upset with you. So we're not going to put you on the spot here. We'll just keep you on for the next one. Small but mighty. You're going to be on. But for me, I got to go with my 2 to watch, Tanya Boychuk. You know, she is she captains the U20 side for Canada. She's a top player for Memphis, and I believe might be their captain now. And so she comes into Impact FC after playing, you know, for Troy. She knows what to expect. There's this understanding, and it's always great when you have somebody who knows your gaffer like they know, like she knows Troy. And I think you're going to see a lot of big things from her this year. She's kind of a sneaky MVP pick on my side as well. But then I have to go to Lancaster Inferno, and I got to look at Teresa Rook, right? If you look at Rook, she's been there. She's done that. She's getting to the point now in her career where she's ready to win, and she wants to win now. And I think she might be the one player who can wheel that team to championships. Obviously, there's a lot of talent in this league. These are just 4 names that we're coming up with that we're shooting out today, and we'll be highlighting more of those players as we go this coming season here on the UWS Kickoff Show. So stay tuned for more information from players, as well as goals of the week, teams of the week, and so forth. Let's talk a little bit small but mighty, right? We all have those moments where we're small but mighty. UWS 2 has not gotten a lot of publicity since the league didn't get a proper kickoff last year due to COVID. What are some things that we need to pay attention to? Obviously, there are many teams using this as a second team or academy-like situation, but there are clubs like Unity FC. There's other clubs that are coming in that run their programs like a UWS team, or in some cases where they treat the club and the players like they are top flight. How do we get ready, and what should we be expecting from UWS 2 this season, with actually the first game kicking off, Cork Town 2 and the Grand Haven Admirals kicking off this weekend? Megan?
Yeah, I think it's really fun because you've got that opportunity to progress at a lot of clubs with them using it as an academy side. But then you've also got those clubs who, like Unity, are saying, no, this is our team and we're going to take them all the way up to the top. I mean, I believe that Unity sees the club progressing into UWS at some point. So I think it'll be really, really interesting to be able to see the different mentalities that each club has. You've got players who are willing to prove why they should be in the first team, but then you've also got players wanting to prove, oh, my team can compete with your first team already right now. So I think that the hunger is going to be there, the drive is going to be there, but it's also a slightly less serious environment. So maybe you might see more things being tried, trying out that skill, trying out that set piece, and it can just be a bit more relaxed environment. It's not quite as high intensity, so it might be more, let's just play. There's nothing on the line. Let's just have a good time. So it can bring that aspect, which I think is really interesting too.
Danny?
Yeah, I mean, those are great points. I'm glad Megan went first, because that was that. I mean, when you have a UWS2 player in the lineup, I mean, of course that's the insight that we want to get. But it's funny. I just as a fan of a lot of European soccer, I think about like the Bundesliga 2 or even the Bundesliga 3, where you've got like Bayern's second team or like Werder Bremen's second team, playing with clubs that have history and want to be back in the Bundesliga. It reminds me of that. And that's always a cool comparison when you can compare yourself to the Bundesliga system. But I mean, it's fun because you've got, like Megan said, different ideologies of kind of why those players are there, and what their goals are. There's this entire club that wants to move itself up, and then there's players who are just kind of trying to kind of showcase their skills enough to get a call up to the first team. There's so many storylines within that, a lot of talent and a lot of desire to win matches and to score goals. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait for the day where we get a UWS2 team in the middle of nowhere, like De Graafschap, I think is the club name. They are a second division team in the Dutch leagues. Eredivisie. They actually had a chance to be promoted, and their team bus got escorted to their match via tractors. So the bus is moving down the street. There's these tractors. I'm waiting for us to get pro rail so we can see potentially tractors in Florida getting Unity to the top flight, and maybe even an alligator or two. Who knows?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a fun season for UWS2. There's no real pressure for clubs, as there's no playoff structure, and they're going to be playing to showcase their talents as an individual or even a club to show that they belong, as Megan was talking about. Unity will always be the club that our attention is on, their presence in social media, and how they carry their club with pride and passion. But the other clubs all around the country do the same. But if you want to help grow local talent, Lancaster Inferno is doing that with their UWS2 side. They're bringing in players to, be a part of that culture. And it also plays a role in getting teams ready for the next step, be it college or first team in some cases, or even, in some cases, get them ready to go play in places like Iceland, and have that opportunity. So I'm excited to see what happens this year in UWS2. Let's get to the rest of the story. So what is a storyline you hope plays out this year? Tell me what you're excited about this season as well. So Megan, what is a storyline that you see playing out this season?
I see competitively every single place that we're playing. I see these games being goal fests. I see them being tactical battles. And I think that it's just going to be so much fun to see. Every weekend you could tune into so many different games and get so many different results, so many different playing styles. I just think it's going to be the summer of soccer. Everybody is so ready after last summer, not quite going to plan. So yeah, I just think it's going to be hype. It's going to be great.
I like the sound of that. The summer of soccer. That is an ideal summer for me, and I couldn't agree more. I'm really excited as far as storylines of seeing these players who, and we've talked about it before, who aren't really getting seen anywhere else. Maybe they get kind of pulled off of a local team and just they're playing at a high level and they get noticed. but they proved their talent and ended up making that jump to a professional contract. That is not an unattainable goal from UWS. It's one of the hallmarks and the calling cards of this league is from this level, you can jump to a pro contract and really have that kind of next step of professionalism as a player. So that's always something exciting that I look for. And then something else that really gets me excited about this season is just seeing all of these new clubs that are going to hold their own and really find themselves competing for titles. We've talked about teams that are kind of mainstays that we could see them in the Final Four, but at the same time, there's FC Buffaloes, there's Pensacola FCs that are more than prepared. Even Blue Heats that Megan mentioned, that's a good shout for a Final Four. I think there's a lot of those clubs that could come in and instantly dominate their respective divisions and find themselves competing for silverware.
I think that Summer of Soccer is going to be our new hashtag. It's down there on the bottom. So if you have a take or if you have insight,
yes,
or you want something to be said on this show, you use hashtag Summer of Soccer, and we'll make sure we have that followed on Twitter, and we'll make sure that gets across during this Summer of Soccer, as Megan put. I like it. It's just...
Thanks, guys.
So I think the storyline for me is, how do these players get ready for the season, right? Some having a year away from the game, others who are coming off their college season. I want to see who's dedicated to the game of the sport of football that we're all in love with. There's been times where players might not be fully invested in the summer. They're tired. They want to go on vacation. They want to hang out with family and friends. It's a hard time to be committed. Burnout takes place, but I'm excited to see what player we haven't taken notice of has a chip on their shoulder, comes out to prove a point to people as they belong. I want to see another Bethany Velser storyline play out this season. And if it does, I'm looking to see how they continue to improve. How does that player take their goals, take their ability, take their accomplishments to the next level? Outside of UWS, how do they take it to the NWSL? How do they take it to, other platforms around the world? So we'll see. I think you just have so much there, right? And I hope players really buy into culture. I hope they get themselves going and push for it. So we'll see. All right. Last but not least, without thinking much about it, what is one takeaway for today? What should we be ready for? How is today going to play out? Are we going to see issues? Are we going to see teams fall apart in the early season? Are we going to see people starting to take notes, scouting reports, and how do teams get ready? How do they get off on the right foot?
I mean, there's so many options here for like what we look to for this opening match day. I think you look for the standout, for that one club that does something that you say, oh wow, like, because I mean, we've talked about it. It's not easy to like you said, you can look at scouting reports and there's this kind of nervousness of like, who takes that? How do you find an advantage? It's hard to find one on match day one. It just that's kind of a reality of what soccer is. You don't have that cohesion and your training. You don't have enough training to really set yourself apart in that category either. So it's kind of just, if there is a team that just has more of a winning mentality, that will be shown right now tonight on this match day. You're going to find out who really just has a will to win that is far and away above anybody else. If we see a 2-0, a 3-0, something like that, multi-goal win, that's the team that we're going to want to watch out for that reason. So that's look for that standout result. That's going to be the team that maybe surprises some of us with just how determined they are.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think opening weekend, it's so hyped. There's so much about the event that sometimes you can't judge too much off what happens this weekend. It is a long season. There is a lot of matches. So although a result may go one way this weekend, that is not to say that in 3 weeks' time, they're back winning matches by multiple goals. So I think, this weekend, it'll be about who has that mentality. As you say, teams haven't had that much of a chance to come in with lots of practice under their belt. You've got some players who might be sitting out because they need to rest. They've come off a college season. So it'll be interesting to see. It's more about mentality this weekend, I think, than anything else. But I'm excited.
I think for me, the main thing is going to be, keeping progression, right? Do you get off on the right foot? Okay, great. How do you keep that momentum going? If you lose, how do you get back how do you get back to winning, right? Obviously, it's only 3 matches being played this weekend. That's 6 teams, but that's 6 teams that could affect the table right away, right? You get out to a hot start, you jump on that goal differential, you're causing a lot of problems. Let's say Cork Town goes out and puts 5 on the board. Let's say Kicks goes out and puts 3 on the board. They're already putting themselves in an advantage to get out early out of the gate. Now, will they do it? Let's not hope so. I want to see some parity play out over the course of the season, but you just never know. And so with that, we'll see. I'm excited. It's gonna be good games. Check out My Cujo, as all games should be streaming live from that entity starting today when we have Midwest United and Lansing United at 7 p.m. at Aquinas College, followed by tomorrow at the Page. We have Ladies Steel FC and Chicago Kicks, and then kicking off the weekend at Corner Ballpark, or rounding out the weekend, Corner Ballpark, Cork Town AFC versus the Muskegon Risers. Megan, Danny, thank you so much for taking the time to join me as co-host of the show. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed the insight that we were able to share today, and I look forward to another weekend next Saturday for the UWS Kickoff Show.
Heck yeah. Summer of soccer, baby. Let's do it.
Hashtag summer of soccer.
Yeah.
Do it. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. We hope you enjoyed the show. We're excited about the UWS and UWS 2 seasons. We hope you are as well. Don't forget to follow all of our social medias. Instagram, Megan_Warner10, Small World _official, but it's not really Small World. It's Small World. No R or A, right? So we go with that. And then for me, it's UWS Weekly online, or John_UWS Weekly on the Insta. So until Thursday, when you're going to join us for another UWS Kickoff Show powered by Rain Body Fuel. Peace out, everyone. Enjoy the weekend of soccer. #soccer, or summer of soccer. Everybody have a great weekend.